started listening to this, I thought, well, that's connected and it's smooth, but it all sounds the same. No matter what I do with my right hand, it doesn't matter. So I got to analyze my playing. I thought, well, that's kind of boring to my ear. And so I started thinking in phrases. And at first I was doing fiddle tunes, and I would think, well, here's the A part, and here's the B part. And you put those A and B parts together, and you've got that fiddle tune. Now I think of maybe, say, on the I might take just that part and think about, all right, I've stated the melody there. Now the second time I go through, I might think, so I'm trying to change the rhythm part of that fiddle tune, but keep the melody on. So in order to that, I'm always thinking, I don't want to get my right hand doing the same thing over and over, where my right hand's doing the same rhythm, and where it sounds do-do-do-do-do-do throughout the whole song. So I'm trying to get out of that rhythm thing, and when I started thinking in phrases, that's when I think my playing excelled the most. I mean, it wasn't, I used to think, oh Lord, you know, I got this A part and I got this B part, and now I'm starting to break each one of those A parts down in these phrases and trying to make it different, but not to get away from the melody. And that's the trick, you know, where you can always hear the melody in the song. You can get away from it a little bit, but I don't know if you go to these Texas fiddle contests, I don't know if some of them's got like kind of the judges rule. If you go 2 seconds or something like that without hearing the melody, and you get disqualified. So, taking that in mind, and I've been there because, and the guy that I used to back up fiddle contest, and he was really good. He told me that, and that was probably the best information he could give me. Because I was doing whole A and B parts with, you can understand, I mean, it wasn't anything to do with the tune. It was just a bunch of string of licks, and it didn't do anything for the song at all. And I thought it was, wow, this is hot. This is what people want, you know. And it wasn't. It was, you know. I remember sitting with this guy. I think it was down at Spigman. We was listening to this banjo player, and he was just, man, I mean, just ripping it, just like that. I mean, he was going up and down the neck, and we had no idea what he was playing. This old guy, he walked up and goes, man, he's really putting a wig on it, ain't he? I'm like, man, that's. So that happened about the same time as when the fiddle player told me, he said, you have to go 2 seconds without noticing the melody and you get disqualified. So all that happened at the same time, and that was kind of a changing point. I mean, I was like, wow, you know, this is, and it takes extra work. I mean, it takes extra work to, all right, when you break down a melody, how can you change it without getting away from the melody? And that takes a little bit of woodshedding. It takes a little bit of thought, but there is some, you know, there is some things that I do. I try not to start every solo the same, so you got 2 or 3 choices there if you start out. So most of the guys, when I'm teaching at home, if they're playing in a bluegrass band, they'll start every song like Gold Rush. Then they go into their break, and that's kind of you get into that thing, and it's like, say, it's comfortable. It's more of a comfort thing. I mean, you know, I just try to change. You might hang on a note. I mean, I like doing the spaces more than I do trying to do a lot of notes. So, and there's, like I say, there's kind of some devices that you can use. I know the guys that play in the Grand Ole Opry. One guy, I was talking to him one time, and he played on the Grand Ole Opry band, and he said when he's doing solos, said, yeah, all these steel players, like the guitar players, they're thinking a chord ahead. So they're soloing, like if you got a song that's, say, in 1-4-5, they're starting in C. That's where they're starting their solo at. Now the rhythm's going to C. Now they're going to go be soloing in D. Then when it goes to the 5 and D, they're going to be soloing over G. So if we can get him, this guy here, to just do a. So that's where I'm you got an idea there that's like, oh wow, man, and when I hear this, I listen to the Opry every Friday and Saturday night, like, what are these steel players doing? They really know their theory, or oh, they're really playing outside, and they wasn't. They were just playing a chord head. But that's another thing that you can use. And I like to use that. I mean, it gets you thinking, and it gets you thinking, not starting a solo. Like I had to start with a little you wouldn't normally start a G solo like that in the fourth. So that's how that works. So there's certain devices like that. I don't know that people's told me, and just watching these, the older guys is really, and it takes a steel player or older electric guitar player that's been around and they know all this stuff, and it's just, you gotta, I don't know, that was a big deal growing up in Indiana. Ty knows, we could get the Grand Ole Opry clear as a bell because it's flat. So every Friday and Saturday night we listened to Grand Ole Opry. It was live music, and it was exciting. So.
Oh, I did have a question.
Yeah.
About fast rhythm playing technique, like for example, Fire in the Mountain. What kind of things do you try to do with your right hand to make sure that you get that really fast chop and
my rhythm, just a basic rhythm pattern. I'm just doing now on this cycle I do 3 downs, then I do it up. So it's,
okay.
So that lick starts like this. So when the tune starts, the tempo starts getting faster, I abbreviate that. And my right hand starts getting real focused now. It's starting to go from maybe I got this much room to play with on like a medium tempo thing. Say maybe like this would be how much I'm playing. Well, then on a fast tune, I'm starting to really narrow, and I'm really getting focused really on the center.
And to get the volume, are you doing that mostly with your wrist or your?
Doing it mostly with wrist, and I've got my wrist like I play a lot from this axis and not my elbow. I play rhythm with this part of my wrist. So I got my wrist kind of at 45. If you're looking down, if you were me and looking down at my wrist, it's like a 45-degree angle. So on a Fire Mountain. So it's getting real focused, and it's in the center of the strings is kind of what I'm thinking about. And the main thing is I'm keeping everything simple too. The faster it goes, it's more simple. And I want J-Rob, when he's doing his mound break, I'm keeping his chop where it's. So I might hit a thing right there, and that's just to let him know, hey, here's the downbeat, and I'm with Zach on the bass when you lose the chop. I play different when he goes into like that song. I play different than I would if he's playing chop.
Okay.
And I'm really listening to his chop on a medium tempo song, where that's what I'm linking up with, his chop. He's got a good chop, and when he's hitting that chop, that's what I'm listening for when I'm playing just a regular song. And I want that beat to be right with his chop. So that's the thing. If you can keep that balanced with your bass notes, that's the trick, I think, to good rhythm sound. A lot of times I'll hear a rhythm guitar player, and they'll keep everything where it gets to the point where it's like there's no chop beat, so you get this constant it sounds like a washing machine or something like that. And there's no beat. You can't define the beat. So other people playing with you can't define it either. So you got that bass there, but you got this chop beat that I guess I pay more attention to the chop beat than to the bass, because you're usually playing with a bass player. And I don't know, there's a lot that happens on the chop beat, I think. And I learned that from a Texas fiddle player also. But when you're doing the Texas style, everything emphasis is on the chop beat. It's not on it's on this beat. So you got this bass, so that makes it swing, as opposed to when I hear some people do those chords and their bass, they go. then all you hear is the bass run. But you want to have that emphasis on the chop, so it's. And that makes it swing. It's a, I don't know, it makes that fiddle player play different too. And it's there again, the same fiddle player, Danny Carwall, told me, he said, once you get that rhythm right, and he was explaining this before we did the contest, he said, once you get the rhythm right, he said, when we got it right, he said, you can see this chicken, and it's like you watch this chicken out, like in a barnyard, he's doing this. And he said, once you see the chicken, that's when you've got the right beat. That's the goal. You got this, So that keeps us. You can kind of see that. You got the image in your mind about that. And that's what makes that music.
It's like you did most of your learning from fiddlers.
Yeah, most of I love fiddle, and I tried to play fiddle when I think I was like 7th or 8th grade. I just could not do it. I couldn't get the right hand. My dad, he showed me that, and I was like, man, I just thought I could pick it up as easy as the guitar, and it just didn't happen. So, but I like fiddle. I think I like fiddle players because a lot of fiddle players you meet up with back when I was learning, they played the melody, and there's a lot of. I mean, Blaine Sprouse and Kenny Baker and those guys are really good guys to listen for because they're playing this melody. And I don't know. I really learned a bunch off of that, and then I learned a bunch off of my brother. He played the banjo, so I was trying to do these banjo rolls on my guitar because it's a brother thing, and I thought, well, I can do that with Flatpicking. And that's like that's a banjo roll. And, I mean, he would do these licks, and I was like, I can do that. And I don't know, it gets you thinking a different way, I guess. I've learned more off, I guess, other people that play other instruments other than guitar, I guess. And the fiddle's really, I've learned more off fiddle players just because of the melody and trying to do what they do. And it's real melody. I just like a good melody player. I think it's really, I don't know, it does. I think you remember those notes more than you do the other stuff. Any more questions?
What's your technique on cross-picking?
My technique, I do some cross picking. It's usually I usually split the first two like a. No, at first lick I don't hit the. It's not like a 1, 2, 3. It's just a 1, 3. The thing I like to do is not hold that pattern. I like to do like there was a solo I used to do with Lone Spirit Band was say I do, it was like a. I like to move those chords, and that's my thing that I like to do with the cross picking is, using that same pattern but moving those chords around instead of being kind of confined to this, the regular stuff that you hear. I just like moving the chords.
So you go straight down, up, down, up.
Yeah, this kind of, and like I say, I always split the. And I like to move the. So you can move those lines. You don't have to stay in that one area. That's what a lot of, I don't know. I just like moving things, trying to make a melody thing. That first song, Me and My Farmer, was kind of that idea. That was always just a kind of a solo piece that if somebody had a guitar or show me, I just kind of picked it up and I would do that little run, and that kind of evolved into a tune there.
When you started learning, did you start with the floating right hand? Because I know and just about everybody else I know that flat picks, pretty much, this part of your hand is laying on your bridge pins, and
Right.
or at least resting there while you're pinking there. But I noticed you're way up and you're
Way up,
well, not way up, but you're
Right.
floating above the strings. Nothing
Right.
of yours. The only thing touching your arm your guitar is up here.
It's right here.
Yeah.
No, I didn't start out that way. I started with my hand right there.
So you have to relearn?
And yeah, there was a period there when I was in high school. I got interested in kind of some electric guitar stuff. And this particular guitar I have is kind of like a Les Paul and had this real high bridge on it. And if you look at Les Paul, the bridge is like way off the top. So when I started messing around with that guitar, I couldn't lay my hand on it. So I had to learn to play it with my hand up. So sometime after that, I got tired of that, and the reason I got tired of electric was I couldn't change my tone on it, and I was used to doing that with acoustic. If you had to change tone, you had to turn a knob, and that really got on me so much bad that I just sold my electric guitar and then went back to the acoustic. And when I went back to the acoustic, I automatically had my hand up, and then and I always, when I had my hand on the bridge, I couldn't change my tone as much as I can when it's up. And once I had my hand up like that, I got more volume, and that's what I've been struggling with all these years. My brother that played banjo, and I was always trying to play as loud as he was doing. So all those years I was struggling, and I couldn't do it. And then once I went back, I thought, wow, I can play louder with a little effort. And it was just, I'm using a different part of my wrist to do that. So I'm actually kind of pushing into it, but actually I'm just making my thumb stouter so that when I push against my pick, it's not flexing, or it's just really the force is there. And that's how I do the rhythm. When I'm doing rhythm, I can feel the kind of the pick going back and forth in my hands, and I can feel it's going across the strum like that, but the pressure's not there. Now when I go into picking, I'm not squeezing all that much, but it is a little bit like on a G run or something. I'll just squeeze a little bit and making this part a little bit more rigid than it usually is. But that just really makes me, I can just push my wrist a little bit and I've got my volume now. Whereas this part, it'll wear out your wrist, and it's hard to do. And it's hard to go from rhythm to that kind of style, and that's what my problem was. I was playing rhythm kind of like this, but once I went to when I went to go to the lead, had to stick my hand on the bridge, and it just wasn't working. Like I say, once I got my hand up on it, that stuff started making a little bit more sense, and I got my volume, and I got that volume where, hey, I could play actually with a little bit more effort. I could break the string, and that's what I was always after, and it wasn't that much effort, because I just learned how to kind of go into the string, but it wasn't that much different from when I went to rhythm. So it's kind of the same thing. So.
Kenny, on the same subject, when your fingers are curling under there, are you brushing along the top a little to get your distance? You touching the top at all?
On a lead, no.
On a lead.
Yeah, on a lead, I might just use that as a locating thing. Just that gives me a kind of a reference, but some stuff I don't. That just lets me know where these top strings are.
Right.
And I'm not really thinking about that. It's just something kind of just lets me know where I'm at right there.
When you play on stage as opposed to playing now for us now, are you kind of picking harder when you're playing with your band on stage?
Not so much. It's kind of the same. It's kind of the same volume. I mean, there might be some. It just depends on what's going on. Usually it's about the same kind of volume. I try to play. I keep everything kind of at a medium where if I do want to play hard, I've got a little room there without beating the tone out of the instrument. And that depends on your guitar. I think each guitar's got this certain level where you can play it hard enough where it sounds. You've got a little bit more drive on the instrument, but you can go a little bit too far, and then it starts to go the other way as far as tone. And that's the kind of thing I look at. And this guitar, this one, particular one, it's got pretty big threshold, I guess, at the top. And you can kind of lean on it a little bit more than some other ones, but it sounds good soft too, and that's what I like. That one, I've got I got two Collins guitars at home that I loved, and they've all got their different voice. But when I was trying those guitars out, I always try to find one that's got a big voice and a big range. Does it sound good soft, or and can you lean on it without it kind of having this ceiling thing? So I try to, when I pick up a guitar to buy, I just see how much, you can hear the tone changing a lot, and it's just, so you can get, that's how, I guess that's how I check a guitar out if I'm interested in buying it. I want the maximum voice range that instrument has, and I think that's when you can find a guitar that does all that and does sound good live over a PA system. I think you've got a good guitar. That's how I've always kind of. And I started playing mahogany guitars because the Rosewoods was always too expensive for me to buy, and that's how I ended up trying to make the mahogany sound like a Rosewood guitar. That's why I'm going up into the sound hole sometimes. I'm trying to get it to sound like that herringbone that I heard on that J.D. Crowe album, or Norman had a couple of Rosewood guitars there that he played, and that's if this guitar had another maker's name, Bruno or whatever, I'd be playing it if it had this same voice. I really, this one happened to be a 35 D18 when I picked it up, but I mean, if it was a Euphonon or Prairie State guitar, that's what I'd be playing, and if it had that voice. And I know when I first played this guitar, I about got sick because I knew I didn't have enough money to buy it, and when I picked it up, it had this stamp on the back of the neck, and I thought, oh man, that's like a 34 or 35. What little I knew about guitar, that's the only year they put these stamps on it. Martin did, and I was like, man, out of all the stinking guitars that I liked and tried out, this one had to be a 34 or 35. And like I say, it was just, the guitar kind of found me because Troy Spencer and Jeff Spencer had it, and they let me try it out and gave me a year and a half to pay for it. So that's how I ended up getting it. And at the time, I was saving up for a ring for Amanda. Our choice. Yeah, it was our choice. And I remember we played this, they gave me the guitar, oh yeah, take it and play it for a couple weeks. And the next gig, I was meeting Amanda, and she saw me playing this old guitar, and Sammy and Ronnie was making a big deal of it. And at break, she goes, hey, if you want to, we can get that ring any other time. I said, you need to get that guitar. I said, that's a good sounding guitar. And the old one said, we get that ring some other time. So I thought, man, what a good girl. So about a week after that, John Fogerty had called and wanted me, Don, and Ronnie to sing on his album. So he flew us out to L.A. We did that and got back home. He never said anything about payment. And we got this check in the mailbox. And it was more than enough to pay for Amanda's ring. So that's how I ended up getting the ring after that. So. But like I say, at the time, I had a really good 1946 D18, which I thought was, I traded, and like I say, the first one I got was a 54 D18. And then after that, I got a Collins. It was a 93 Collins, and I really liked that guitar, and I played it a long time. And I think I traded for a 49, and then I traded back to this 46, which is why I played against this guitar, and this one had a little bit more rhythm sound than the 46 did. But the guitar really, we was at a festival, and like I say, Troy and Jeff, friends of mine, said, hey, we just bought this guitar from the original owner out in Colorado. I said, I think you'd like it. And I wasn't looking for a guitar, and it just kind of fell in my lap. Yeah, the original owner was in Colorado. But like I say, I like new guitars as well as this one. This one makes me play different, I guess, than some of the other guitars. I remember when I got that Collins guitar, that was the first guitar, it had that range I was talking about, and that really, my playing.
Is that a D1A?
It was a D1, and it really, my playing in that period, I just got with Claire Lynch, and my playing in that period really excelled, but just because of the instrument. And it really made me play. I mean, it played better. It had a real good response, and it had a lot of tone. and I don't know, it just made me a better player. And that's the thing that I think is important for an instrument. It's got this tone that makes you play better, or anything you do. I mean, that could be just a simple pick. You know, it could be a matter of that. I experimented with picks for a long time, and still, I usually buy everything that comes out, plastic-wise, if I'm in a music store, and I try everything. You just can't quit it. Just, there may be a plastic pick that sounds better than this.
Like that tortoise.
No, this is a tortoise shell pick here, and I don't know. I experiment a lot with it. It's just a 3/4. This thing is getting pretty little. So I might have to make another one. I don't know. I'm constantly experimenting with these capos, and
Play around with it.
I play with the round, the shoulder part of a regular 3/4 pick, and when I'm making these picks, I just take that shoulder and make that point where the point would usually be, make that another shoulder. So you got 3 sides, it's the same, and it's a little bit smaller pick than what you normally use. But what I've found over the years, a big pick, say one that's kind of a little bit smaller than a Dorito or that shape, that pick will torque your hand. A bigger pick torques my hand when I'm playing rhythm or lead. It like that counter thing I was talking about. It'll rotate my wrist and it'll wear it out pretty quick. And if the pick is really thick, it does the same thing. It has this opposite force against, and it's torquing my wrist too much, and I can't play with a big pick. So
how about thickness?
the thickness, I like them just thick enough that it won't bend. Like if you just take it in your hand like that, the blanks or whatever you get, and that's the same thing with plastic. That's the problem I have with a plastic pick. Usually when they're this thick, they got flex. They're too much flex in them. So, but they're getting better. There's a couple materials out now that's like they're as thin as, and they're starting to get no flex at all. And I think they're getting really close. When that happens, and I think we'll see probably in the next couple of years they'll probably have a material that's just 3 or 4 da da da. Well, you can about hear da da da. That's his pickup notes, and he's going to come down. Well, you got to know that downbeat, and you got to be on that downbeat. That's getting down to the basics. Once you get that downbeat, the banjo player's playing. There's another thing, the G run. I'm doing all downstrokes on the G run. Each note is a downstroke, so you got that going on. And then when a singer comes in singing, Amanda or whoever, I'm just kind of pushing that first little thing on her verse, and I'm backing off. She's singing a song, and I'm talking over my guitar playing now because you can't really hear my guitar playing, but you can hear what I'm saying. And that's the point where I want to be. You want to hear the words, and once if you play that thing with the intensity of the kickoff, you're not going to be able to hear the words, and it's undynamic. And you're just up there swarping, and it's really not dynamic. So I'm backing off on the singing, and then after the singing's done, gone, and then we got the chorus set up, I'm backing off again. Then the end of the chorus, I'm going. Now the mandolin players say it's time for J. Rob to do a break. Well, I'm going to go back to that chop. The chop's not there anymore. So what am I doing on the rhythm? I'm going to go from really simplifying this, but you hear the chop. Not doing as many runs either. So there I'm leading J-Rob. We lost the chop in the mix, but I'm changing my plan for the chop. He's coming out of his break. Now on the banjo break, I'll kind of do some syncopated stuff, and you've got some room to kind of mess around with that. Banjo breaks come in. I might throw in a little stop or set him up with it. to change that. See, I'm holding on to that note, so I'm kind of pushing him into something else there. So I've got a little bit more freedom there to do, and then it's basically ending the song then. But the rhythm, rhythm, you gotta listen to what's going on. That's the main thing. If you're not listening or you're really into yourself, that's when I hear some problems.
What do you like to hear behind your own solos from your banjo for backup? Do you like a roll or a pluck or a?
Sometimes on certain songs, maybe a pluck, but I kind of like the roll. Roll's kind of, to me, on banjo when it's done right, that's your drum machine. It's got this. I can hear that, and I kind of, I don't know, I like that. I mean, it's just like sitting on one of these little Casio keyboards, got just those 4 little settings on it, and it's kind of the same thing. I mean, it's I don't know, listen to what's going on. Zach, our bass player now, is really good about, we kind of think the same, and he'll throw in something there that will kind of make me go some different places. And I like that. I like listening to what's going on around me. But the main thing is playing rhythm. And I learned this early on, just backing up these fiddlers in these contests and banjo players. Just around Indiana, they had a 4-H kind of a county fair about every weekend. So me and my brother just traveled around doing this kind of stuff. Well, just in school and stuff, if you backed up third, second, first winner, they're all going to pay you like $15 or $20. Well, hey, if you're a good rhythm player, they're gonna want you to play rhythm. So I learned early on, hey, you don't have to play lead to make money, and that's really I still consider myself a rhythm guitar player and not much of a lead player, just because that's what you're going to be doing most. I would say probably 90% of the time is you're backing up a voice or backing up a fiddle player. So that's the main thing. You got to be kind of confident and kind of take a band, whoever you're playing with, kind of make them come to you. I mean, you might have some players that's got the mean factor, but I think you get over that. If you got some good ideas, make the band kind of come to you if you're a good rhythm player. And that's the thing that I hear when people was not confident with the rhythm, that part of the sound doesn't happen. You hear some guitar players kind of lay back and I'm just going to let the bass player and the mandolin player chop, and I'm just going to lay back. And I really don't have any ideas, and I'm just up here now I'm going to do my lead, and that's like, there's so much more than that. I think there's more that can happen with the rhythm part than the lead. And it's, I don't know, bluegrass, I think it's an important part of the band's sound. There's a lot of good rhythm players out there that's unnoticed, that I see. I don't know. It just depends on depends on the song too. If I'm playing a Texas guy that can play Texas fiddle, I'll play those. I like that rhythm too, and that's important to learn those chords too, just as well as your Barry Claw G or those bluegrass thing. It's important to learn these what I call kind of a jazz chord, 6 chords, major 7s. It's important to learn that and where they fit, and don't be afraid to use that stuff in your bluegrass. See where they kind of lead you. I don't get too far off on that where it becomes like a jam thing in the middle of the song. It's just me and Zach might throw an idea in a little bit, just on a turnaround or something like that. And that's I like that part about it. Drawing from these other guitar players and doing it. There's an ending I used to do, comes strictly from like a Merle Travis, and so you can use those kind of ideas with flatpicking. You can do it. You don't have to have the. So So you can use that idea and try to learn to do it with a flat pick. So that'll give you, those guys are really good to learn from, the three finger, that Chet Atkins and Merle Travis, because they're using these chords you don't hear often in bluegrass. That's what I like about that playing. And they're very melody players. So I listen to a lot of different music too. That's one thing that's helped me, I guess. More questions? Y'all a quiet bunch now.
What are you listening to mainly today?
Right now I'm listening to some clawhammer players. I listen to Reed Martin. I'm listening to Adam, what's his name? Just got his CD the other day. Adam Hurt, listen to his CD, Clawhammer. Clawhammer's kind of neat because those guys are just playing the notes of the melody that work with that clawhammer stroke. So you got less notes to choose from. And so then when they do like a different note, it kind of sets off the melody. But they're playing a little different tunes that I like. We'll probably record it that we're working on now. Probably Cumberland Gap. They play old time. They play that a little bit different than what you hear in bluegrass. Bluegrass is old time player will play that same song, which we're working up as a. So you're going from a tune you heard. That's way easier around our house, but your old time players play it totally different. So I like that deal too. And I'm listening to some jazz stuff. I'm starting to get a little bit more into that. I've never been around that kind of music, and that's really interesting to me.
How about drums?
Just what those jazz players do. Me and Amanda listen to 50s music a lot, like the rockabilly kind of we're listening to a lot of that stuff. That's kind of neat because I like stand-up bass, and I like to hear what they're doing, and it's real simple. There's not a lot going on except for the singer, and then this really good rhythm, and they think different. So we kind of pull from that too.
It goes along to song. You play mostly out of like the G position, first or second position on the G.
I guess so. I mean, on a G position, I got kind of some favorite things I do. That's kind of the three position I'm working after. Kind of pulling from that part of the chord, the G. That now I might go up this. I call that kind of a middle position, and then you going up high. See, I'm pulling from that, but I like to go to the minor too, the 6 minor. So you can pull from that deal, and I mean, like I say, you can break this chord down. So you got a G, B, and a D.
Yep.
For a G
play
chord.
a lot with the open.
Right, and what I'm doing up here, I'm just taking those open notes and moving them up like. So I'm taking those open notes and then playing them with a noted up here. The main thing is when you're doing something like that is to get out of that. I'm holding on to these notes longer while the other one is still ringing.
You let the open notes.
Yeah, and it's so I like those ringing, and then I'm kind of combining that with your traditional flatpicking stuff. That's one thing. I start listening to all these great guitar players, they've all got this thing that they're good at. And I think that's where your style comes from. Everybody's individual style comes from stuff they can't do. And that's what they're good at. And every guitar player is different. And I noticed it about guitar players. It's like, and I'm always trying to do stuff that I can't do. And that usually doesn't work out. And stuff that the tunes are right is stuff that I'm good at. So all these years I've kind of went towards the stuff that I'm good at, and that's your style. Once you start, copying people, and you got to do that at first to kind of emulate, and you learn a lot of stuff from copying other guitar players. But there's going to be a point in time that you kind of get sick of that. And you get off to yourself, and you think, man, I want my own style. And that's what happened to me. I got sick of people, hey, you sound like Norman Blake, or wow, you're as good as Norman, or that kind of thing. And you go through those phases where I'm gonna come up with something totally different, something that don't sound like Norman. How do I do that? How do you play not like Norman or not like Tony? How can I do it? Well, if you're using this, if you're using that passage, don't use it. Come up with your own deal. And once you start coming up with these different licks that you think, hey, I've never heard that lick before. And all of a sudden it's your own lick. I call that my own lick because it was, that deal, or like, you got to come up with, sometime or another, you got to come up with your own thing if you want to stand out. I think it's important. I think it's important to write new tunes. That's where I think you'll learn more off a new tune than anything. If you write a new tune, and we love it. That's the thing I like about Joey and guys in the band. We always, if we're at the Galax Fiddlers Convention, which happens once a year, somebody have a new tune they wrote. Well, we all get together. All right, man, Joey's wrote a killer banjo tune. We're gonna learn it, and we'll play it all week. And we'll work the tune up, and that's how it keeps going. And it's real open, I guess, in our area about I got a tune I'm working on, and it's pretty neat when you get at a festival or somewhere like here and work up a new tune, write a tune. You can be inspired, like say, by all different kind of things, and it may be just a thing where what I do is get in a different position, do something you haven't done before. Sometimes that's hard. You get in that rut where you're doing the same old thing. I just can't stand that. I got to somehow make it, either play that song out of a totally different key, or I wrote a song for Amanda out of E and capoed up so it'd be in G. Sometimes you got to do that, just getting a different thing altogether. Usually if I'm home, usually I'll play like in B flat, or something where the dots don't line up. That's another thing. I'm trying to give you guys some ideas, but that's another good thing.
So play one of our own dots.
Yeah. Any more questions? Y'all are a smart bunch.
When your brother plays melodic banjo,
Yeah.
yeah, and did that cross-pollinate, a lot of the floaties that you do and a lot of the melodic playing?
A little bit. My brother, he played a little bit more outside, a little bit more flashy. So there again, I guess I'm a kind of opposite deal with my brother. I play a little more melody than he did. So, and my brother was really good at the contest. The way he played is the way he learned. He learned to do those, the kind of the flashy more stuff to win the contest. So he gravitated toward that thing, and he could nail it too. He was a lot better at the contest than I ever was, because he was just really he was focused on that, and he's really good at it. And I was more laid back and wanted to get with the fiddle guys and learn these different fiddle tunes I hadn't heard before. Used to go to those little county fairs there around our house, carry around a tape recorder, I had to have a sack full of cassette tapes. And I go around these fiddle players, and they knew a new tune. Man, I was on them. Hey, play that song again. I was right there taping them. And that's how I learned to play. So I take those cassettes home and learn a new tune. Place fiddle tune. Let's see. Be good fiddle. Oh, I don't know that one. Let's see. We'll do I guess Bill Cheatham might be. You got this one, the weird lick. I mean, you got this lick, which came from just.
We had 2-second violation, didn't we?
Yeah, it had a 2-second deal, but it's still following the chords. That's just coming from, hey, where's the chords going? That's where that lick come from. So yeah, that's how all those things start out. Starts out from this chord, and then where they're going to as far as the melody. I'm trying to think of some songs that I'm kind of working on. There's one that's These Wedding Tunes, good little tune. It's different because it starts out like a. That run right there is a. That just, the melody on that really feels good to where it's, I don't know, I gravitate kind of when I play like a song like Come Along Jody is like, that's kind of in a different position. I mean, you're doing a little finger slide to start this thing off, which is what the fiddle players are doing. So to learn that song, when I first started, when I listened to it, I listened to these songs a lot before I even try to play them. And when I first started trying to learn how to play it, I'm thinking, oh wow, this has got a different deal right here altogether. So that I love that song because it was there again. It's in a different position for me, and it was totally unexpected to what I'd learned before, or what I'd visualized, like how's that going to lay out on the guitar, you know? And then it's got a then you got this next part, which is the high part. So now Tex Logan wrote that song, and it's got a great thing because it enables you to get out of this position right here, and you're going up here. So it gets you, and that's the exact melody what the fiddle playing, the fiddler's doing. I just learned it right off of the melody, and so that's a neat little tune. I like those tunes like that where it gets you in a different position up here. It makes you play up the neck a little bit more. That's another thing that's different too, to learn how to play up the neck. I never did play past the 5th fret, and this one guy that we'd see at the fiddle contest all the time in Indiana, his son played in a rock and roll band, and he would back his dad up sometimes, and it was funny because he might have a gig at 9 o'clock, and he's at this county fair, and he'd have his rock and roll spandex, and all this stuff, and this zebra thing. But his name was Ken Taylor. He was cool because he played up the neck, and he had an acoustic guitar. So the tune that he taught me, he goes, "Hey, let's play something." So he goes, "Let's play Sweet Georgia Brown." So I was so he played that song, and I'm going, "Wow, that thing is." There's no open strings. It's up the neck. So I said, I've got to learn that. So that's the first song that I learned past the 5th fret was Sweet Georgia Brown. And it was at a fiddler's convention. And here you got a guy that's really good on electric guitar and just happened to be backing up his dad in the fiddler's contest. And I just noticed, like, man, he's playing all his stuff. He's playing up the neck. He had the great bends too. You know, playing rock music. He had these. He was doing these bends on acoustic. I was like, man, that is neat, you know. And I don't think I'd ever been a string in my life before I met Ken, you know. Like he had these bluesy things, and I was like, wow. But he taught me the melody of that, and I was like, wow. And then he had the chords. He's playing the rhythm different. So there, one Saturday, I was playing, that evening I'm playing Sweet Georgia Brown with this guy that's from a different music altogether, which was neat. It really opened me up because I used to think, up until that point, I used to think the fretboard was like huge. I thought it was like this 8-foot piece that started up here, and I was, and I knew I was only using this piece, and I didn't venture down. And if I did, it was quick. It was like, and then I. Way, it's like, wow. And so the more you gravitate and the more you force yourself, and that's when I started trying to figure out fiddle tunes up the neck. And I think after that Sweet Georgia Brown incident deal, I thought, well, hey, let's try something up there. So I learned, I think it was Sally Good. So I've been playing it that way for a while. So he's going crazy also. So I started with. So I started learning my fiddle tunes up here, the ones that sound good. Sometimes they get a little bit too high, but that one lays out pretty good, and it's pretty, I don't know, it's pretty easy to find. So I'm just doing the same notes. You just got to figure it out. Do a little homework, and then you got to be confident. It's a different kind of feel playing up the neck, I think, than when I play up here. As it's more direct. So it's exploring. I don't. It took me a long time to even gravitate up towards this part of the neck. I mean, it was really. I was always scared of it, I guess. And then it ended up being. I don't know. I guess I play a little bit more up here than some guitars do. I don't know. And too, it's got to sound right. Some songs, not all songs sound good up here. So you gotta kind of trial and error thing, really. That's what I do. I mean, I'll get with a thing, get like a little mini disc or a cassette, and just tape yourself. That's your best thing, I think. I always do it.
You did the first part of that Stu Baker song.
Yeah. You want it full speed or?
Yes.
Okay, all right. All right.